episode of the Enlightenment Operatives Podcast. I'm your host, Charles F. Moreland III. With me today, very special guest, multidisciplinary artist, MC, truther, and all-around dope person, Jugal Rajbhandari.
Yeah, you said it pretty good.
I'm a white dude from Kentucky. I'm a redneck. I don't know if you understand what rednecks are, but I did pretty good for a redneck. All right, so let's get right into this, man. We're in your art studio now. Tell us where we're at and tell us a little bit about your art.
Yes, this is my studio. This concept, it's called Kathmandu Art House, the place, and the concept is it's like a walk-in gallery and workspace for artists like me. So we'll be working here so people can come up and meet us and talk to us and maybe book an appointment if they want to work together or something.
And buy some stuff, right?
And buy some stuff, definitely. That's where we're going at.
If you're lucky enough, you can buy some stuff.
Buy some stuff. Everything's getting sold out pretty soon, so you better hurry up, yo.
You doing good? I like that because I'm jealous of because there's some dope pieces here.
Dope pieces,
super dope.
Definitely.
And there's over a dozen in this room, right? And then I've seen some all around the campus.
Yeah.
There's one in Mona too, right?
The
Museum of Nepali Art. Huge shout out to them because I've been there a couple times and it's
dope place. Yeah.
It's the best place in Nepal, and to be honest, I bet a bunch of people are pissed because every other museum I've been to in Nepal,
so-called,
kind of sucks.
Sucks.
And we'll go and start with this. I was always under the impression, there's all that stuff online, return these pieces of art back to the people. And I was always like, of course, get this art back to the countries that it was made.
Yeah.
And then after going to see how they take care of it, I know you're from Bhaktapur.
Yes.
I've been to the Bhaktapur Museum.
Yes.
It was horrendous.
Horrendous, definitely.
We're talking beautiful pieces that are very old, very historic, and the window's wide open and there's pigeons flying in.
100%, yeah.
There's no temperature control, everything's wilty and drying up, and you talk to them about it, and they look at you like you're crazy.
Crazy, yeah. That's Nepal, man. That's third world where we come from. Things around here doesn't really go as it's supposed to, but this museum has done a pretty good job on preserving things. The temperature is all controlled, and it's everything. Even for artists, it's good to see their pieces being so well taken care of. And if you sell it, even if you have money, even if you're paying a lot of things, there's no price for art. And then when you see someone treating your art like it should be treated, then you are happy with it, and that's what makes you feel content. I think it's a great addition to Nepali art scene, Mona, and they're doing a great job. Especially when people Nepali artists, you've been around the art scene, we were together hanging out and a lot of stuff around town that's happening, bubbling stuff. There's a lot of talented young artists and painters and musicians and stuff. But there hasn't been a hub for stuff. So I personally, what I feel is Nepali artists, especially the young ones, are sort of intimidated when a foreigner comes in, and when a foreigner comes in to play, or a foreigner artist come in to mentor them. And I think they're a bit intimidated, and there's this Nepali, there's a trend in Thamel that okay, a foreigner is coming, and everybody's wow, a foreigner is playing. But every other Nepali does the same fucking shit, except for Charles, you do some crazy shit. I know, we play together. But the thing is, the entire purpose of me telling this is why Mona? Because they promote Nepali people, they promote Nepali arts.
And they do it right. They give it the respect it deserves. That's what I'm saying about these other places. It's they have some crazy dope pieces, but they're not going to be around much longer with the way they're taken care of them.
Definitely.
And you go there and it's museum quality.
Quality,
That's the adjective. Museum quality. It's a term. It's well lit. It's taken care of. The humidity is perfect. That stuff's gonna be. It doesn't have an inch of dust on it. And that's the way it should be, because
should be true.
Nepali art is crazy good. It's a crazy long history. And so much of it is just withering away, and I hate to see it.
Yeah.
And you're Newari, right?
Newari, definitely.
So like you have an even longer history of art, right?
Definitely.
Like Bhaktapur, besides the Museum of Bhaktapur, there was just some crazy, like the wood. You go in basements and it's just all kinds of old wood sculptures.
True. Yeah.
They definitely do the best job of taking care of the temples, from what I've seen.
Definitely, it's the best. I think more than Kathmandu Art and Bhaktapur does a good job preserving these things. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I would like to see a trend of that more.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they're not only doing old stuff, they're doing contemporary art, because your stuff is obviously very contemporary.
Yeah, yes.
And I feel like also what you're saying, like a foreigner comes in, they're allowed to do contemporary stuff and get love for it, but there's already a lot going on here.
Yeah,
it just needs appreciation.
Definitely. And I think like for youth, I think it's important to like realize their potential and not just be intimidated by something, by a foreign entity that just comes in as a mentor. But what I noticed in this small art scene, street scene, as I've been around before this place, I was around all over the place in the street art scene. And then I realized that this sort of like, this foreign exchange, sort of like, it doesn't help the young artists, but it instill a sort of a fear that you are not enough. And which is makes them feel like a little less than someone. But I've some gigs that there's people coming from UK, Belgium, all this stuff. There's good people as well, and some of them are just buying followers, like 10,000 followers. They have 20 likes, and people are intimidated by them. Like it's crazy.
Bots. They're intimidated by bots.
Exactly, it's crazy to see these young people, these talents are intimidated by, and they are DJing. There's not a good DJ, but still they're like, oh, it's a foreigner playing there, and it's like, it's so heartbreaking to see this, you know. But like after I've joined this place, I think like we have a pretty good hub for like all sort of arts. It's welcome here. Anybody can join. It's no exclusive stuff. It's all inclusive. Everybody's included. You know, we're going on a journey to like take Nepali arts to international level, and I think we're pretty much doing a good job here. Yeah.
I agree. Like I've been all over. I used to tour the U.S. I've been to Europe. Like the street art scene could be fucking huge here. Yeah. Like there's some dope artists. Dope we met at Vidro, which is like an art lab. Yes, R.I.P. R.I.P. Vidro, because that shit was fire while I was open. Fire. And that's where I met some of the coolest people.
People like us,
my boy
Ruckus,
MC Ruckus here.
MC Ruckus, you know the drill.
And I mean, there's some dope art there, and some dope artists just like hanging out and like very low key.
Very low key, yes.
And that's what I like. That's what I do like about the Nepali art scene, is it's not as egotistical. Like you go to New York, there's a lot less talent, a lot of bot followers, a lot of people that are only in it because their daddy got money, their mommy got money, their auntie owns a gallery type stuff.
Shit,
They got no love for it. They're doing it to be cool. They're not doing it for the love or whatever. So like, if someone wants to get into Nepali like street art, like Nepali modern art, besides yourself, who's some fire people to shout out right now?
Contemporaries. Okay, my contemporaries would be Arnav Mansingh. Actually, before me, this was
he's dope.
He's dope, right? Yeah. And it was his studio, and he's moving. He's a very good friend of mine, and he's moving to UK to study art. So I'm like, that's crazy. Like I think like something's big's gonna come after that, and maybe Jubin Dital is he's young, same as us. He's doing his styles more like collages and figures and figurative abstract stuff. Okay. He has like his studio upstairs. Maybe in this sort of genre, I think like these two peoples are more prominent in my life and in my circle. I think yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about your art, because I'm super impressed. I was here setting up before you got here, just like sitting in here vibing out.
Yeah.
And your art definitely has a very unique feel to it. I mean, if I had to categorize it with my very limited art knowledge, I'm a redneck. I love art. I love going to museums, but I'm not like, I didn't go to art school, none of that. It's got like a Basquiat meets Picasso meets like this AI art.
Okay.
And the reason I say the AI art thing is because like I've been messing with it for some of my music videos and album covers, and I know it's like blowing up on the internet and most of it's whack as shit.
Yeah.
But there is some crazy like dream quality to it where you're looking at someone's hand and it turns into a mouth and it turns into this. And you're like, what the fuck is that?
That shit's crazy. Like, what the fuck is that? The texture and everything. It seems like almost like a dream. Like, you know, you just remember a blurry memory sort of like vibe to it. Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying your stuff has, because I'll be looking at an eye. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's like a lotus, and then like, oh, it's flowing into this, like, and then there's another face right here, and it's got that same thing going in real time out of like a real person's hand and a real person's. So like, let's say you got a blank canvas, because I know you come in here and you go crazy all night.
Yeah.
What gets you started on a blank canvas?
Blank canvas. I think the actual my technique. I say it to like people. I was talking about it yesterday as well. Like, what's your technique? There's a couple of theater students who visited me, and then we're talking about what is your technique to create art? Because like there's a lot of painters, artists. Some of my friends, like they say that they always need a muse to start a canvas. They always need an inspiration, a muse, a sort of like something needs to hit. But I think that's not in my case. There's few techniques that always makes me feel like I don't have the blockage, you know, like I can give me a canvas, I can just do whatever I want and like complete it, like, you know, like it's not gonna look like an incomplete state. So
I wish I knew that, because artist block, sometimes getting started is the hardest part for most artists, I think.
Man, I had like the huge artist block when I was emceeing, like it's like, it sucks. But like, I think the case is like when you're having fun creating it, and it doesn't hold a pressure on you to create a masterpiece every time you pick up the pen or like take the brush, then it's always fun and games, and at that time it's the purest of art emerges, I guess. But for me, like my technique would be, there's something called automatism, and it's usually like trying to make sense of like this chaotic things around us. So if there's a blank canvas, and like this is my technique, I hold a paintbrush or a pen or whatever I have, a charcoal, whatever. Like I usually experiment with a lot of mediums. It's not just one thing that's specific. Like whatever I have, that I just, you know.
That's awesome.
So like if I have a charcoal, then this technique is like, I'm trying to be not as much conscious as possible, because I put the charcoal in the canvas. I know this from point A to the B. It's gonna go from point A to the B, the first line that I'm gonna draw. Then it's gonna go from point A to the C, B to the C. So as soon as I know that the line is gonna land on B, I do B spontaneous and make it go to the C. So you know what I mean? So it's not about like not having any intention behind making an art. Like this technique is actually gets me going. So my brush is going from E to the B. It's okay, it's gonna land in the BC. Okay, it's gonna land in the DE. So this way I scribble and shit, and all this thing creates some chaos. And as Carl Jung said it, there's always a hidden meaning in disorder. Every disorder, there might be a secret order. And this is the thing that I look up to, like that. This is the thing that I try to see in this chaos. It's like all lines. I try to see, what do I see now? Like how do I make sense of this chaos? There's always a secret hidden order in this disorder. So like I try to make sense of it. I take a step back, contemplate, and then try to make it into something. But the thing is, actually abstraction, people think abstraction has no intention behind it, and general public think that abstraction is just a random painting and then you make sense of it. Whatever you make sense of it, you make sense of it. But I think the true abstraction is actually communicating to your hidden layers of your mind, like subconscious and conscious, and what they're actually trying to see. And after this, like this technique, ABC, like if you disrupt the cycle, predictability, then I think you are in tune with the layers of the mind that you're not like conscious about. So it creates a disorder, and when you try to make sense of this order, this symbols, and after I finish this painting, I look at the painting, why did I draw the mouth like that? Why is there lotus? Why is there like, what's actually the meaning, what's actually the hidden meaning, what's the layers behind all of the symbols that emerges in my canvas without my intention. And people think abstract art, okay, I'll make this building abstract. They look at the building, try to like construct it, deconstruct it, try to make a figure, and this is abstract. I don't think that's an abstract art. Abstract art is actually like communicating with your subconscious and actually try to bring that's what's hidden inside of you, in the depths of you, in canvas. And they say there has no intention, but I think like every unintended things and artwork that's created, it has some sort of divine intention. So yeah, that's what the abstraction's about.
Divine intention, I
divine
like that
intention.
a lot.
Yeah.
Because I was talking about this on my last podcast. That's what I feel like most art these days is missing. That is divine intention. People are so egotistical. They like, let's go back to bot likes. They all want to be cool with it. They're doing it to be cool.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the Carl Jung thing, like there's also the subconscious. What about the unus mundus? You know, like,
yeah.
Are you tapping into that at all? Like, are you tapping into everybody's got this one mind?
Collective consciousness sort of stuff. Yeah.
Do you think that relates to the divine intention?
Definitely it relates. I think they both goes parallel. Like it's like a huge turbulence, water body, turbulence inside the ocean. It's like flowing with ideas and concept and stuff. And you just dive into it, you touch it, just the surface, and just randomly pick one and bring it back to the canvas. And you don't know, but it's there, it's not yours. It just flowed through you, you're just a vehicle for it, but it's there in the universe. You're just tapping into the same frequency and just getting one. And it's not my job to like decipher the meaning for it. I'm just a vehicle. I'm just like putting it in the canvas for everybody to see. And that's how I see it, yeah.
I feel that. That's why I'm probably like vibe with it real bad.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I vibe with you on like a musical level too. Because that's definitely how I approach music. That's how I approach anything I consider art. You know?
Definitely.
So I see a lot of your stuff as, would you call them portraits? I mean, they're obviously got a lot of faces elements in it. A lot of people, are they portraits?
I had a series called Peculiar Portraits. So the portraits are like not the usual portraits, like some distorted perception of reality through the faces, like how the movement Cubism started. Picasso popularized a style called Cubism. So what he did was he basically boiled down human faces into cubes and cylinders. So just the cubes and cylinders, he tried to see cubes and cylinders in every aspect and every dimension of a human face. And it sort of got evolved into something called synthetic cubism. And what he did, George Braque and Picasso did, was called analytical cubism. And now it's synthetic cubism. And it evolved into a style. Synthetic cubism, it's like a 2D surface where it's all about perspective and dimension. So when you see my face from this angle, what we try to portray is like you see from left, right, up, down, front, all in a 2D surface in the same portrait, you know? So this sort of like represent dimensions. And I think this has inspired, synthetic cubism has also inspired my style a lot. So there's a lot of faces and dimensions and like spaces in my paintings, so yes.
So it's multi-dimensional.
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people don't really get into is knowing that there's definitely more dimensions out there. I mean, it's not just a 3D world. Yeah. I mean, there's 4D, there's 5D, and once you're in the 5D, you can see the 4D just as we see a 2D thing. You can understand it. Yeah. But you're not gonna, like, if you're in the 3D, it's hard to see the 4D. It's hard to see the 5D. Yeah. And unless you're on psychedelics or other spiritual access points, you're not really gonna understand that because it's not. It's not a conscious thing. Once again, like a subconscious, you're not going to really get there unless you are deep in the subconscious, and you still don't understand it.
Yes.
So I also see you like to incorporate some of your poetry, some of the, like some lines in there. So let's talk about that a little bit, because besides being a dope painter,
yes,
you're also a sick MC.
Yeah. We work together, we did jam, we have project together, Project Akupara peeps, you know, you gotta check that shit out.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Like, so the name of our collaborative project with the homeboy Kieran Shahi on drums.
Yep.
Drummer extraordinaire, shout out to Kieran. I'm gonna get him on the podcast too.
Yes.
What is Project Akupara?
Initially, like when we thought about it, like Kiran and me, we were hanging out. You know the story. We already told you about it.
I actually don't know the story because like it was one of those things. Is like I played shows here in Kathmandu. I don't really know people because I'm not a very social person, which is probably the wrong person to have a podcast. I'm not very outgoing. I'm more of an introvert. I like to work on my music. I like to work on my like visual stuff. But I played some shows at Vidro once again.
Yep.
I met you there.
Yeah.
And I think we talked a little bit then, but then randomly, and actually Kieran jammed with me at Putali Bar.
Yeah, I saw
randomly one time because I played with his other band, Realized Beings.
Yes.
So I knew both y'all, but like we weren't like super tight.
Yeah.
And you guys hit me up on Instagram.
Yeah.
And said you're coming to town, let's do some shows.
Yeah.
And it was like right about the time where I'm like, man, nobody in Nepal feels my shit at all. I'm like way too weird for all these dudes.
All of my boys came to see your show at Vidro. Like we were like excited. 10 of us like came and sat in the back street like drinking beers. Okay, this is the first time we gotta hear a true analog shit happening in Kathmandu. Like,
that's dope. That's great to hear because like I said, from my perspective, I'm like, man, nobody gets this shit. Like I'm too weird. And I'm to a point where I used to do music professionally when I was in my 20s. Yeah. I'm in my late 30s now, and I just started doing music again when I moved to Nepal because I didn't have a job, and I could just do whatever I wanted. So now I do music for me. I do music for the gods. I just do music that makes me happy. And it's like a spiritual workshop for me.
Yes.
So I don't expect most people to get it, and like honestly, I don't give a fuck.
Fuck, exactly.
But at the same time, it'd be nice to do some shows, make a little bit of money every once in a while, and when you do a show, somebody clap or something.
Yes. But
I'm not getting that much in the fall. Like most people don't even want to book me. If they do book me, I feel like they regret it. So like that. Thank you for saying that you and your boys liked it.
Of course, we came all the way. Like we met up before, and we came all together to see your show the first time in the Bidro. That was a dope show with all the visuals and like.
Yeah, I did a bunch of weird video for it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you hit me up and you were coming to Pokhara where I lived for 3 years. We're in Kathmandu now. It's where you live.
Yeah.
And you guys booked 3 shows. You had easier time booking shows there than me that lived there for 3 years. And we did 3 improv shows. And I had so much fun, man. Like,
that was good.
They were all 3 really different, 3 completely different type of bars.
Yeah.
How do you approach doing music? Like,
yes.
What's your... I mean, a lot of your stuff's freestyle, right?
Yeah, no, what we did in Pokhara was completely improvisation. There's some like written poetry sort of stuff there, but like most of it was like freestyle, and it was just, how do we call it? It's just random bunch of words put together, so it's pleasing for the ears. That's how I would say. I'm like, I don't know, like what's the style? It's just bunch of words jumbled up and put together. Might be nonsensical. People might find meaning on it, but I don't know. It's up to them.
I mean, I went back through it and edited it to put it on my YouTube channel, which you can watch if you want.
Yeah.
I felt a lot of meaning in it. Like I was vibing to a lot of it, and that's why like we don't really know each other that well. But I already feel like we're homeboys because a lot of you shit you were saying, I'm like, man, this guy is either reading the same books I'm reading or something because he's tapping into a lot of what I think, but I'm not a lyricist, so I never put it out there.
Yeah.
And it definitely, I grew up with the rave scene in the U.S.
Yes.
Particularly drum and bass. One of my first like video jobs was drum and bass TV. I didn't really like the owner. He was a crackhead. But I got to go to a bunch of like the dopest DJs, get into the parties, and I was there videotaping.
Yeah.
And I just love drum and bass. And kind of what you're talking about, the way you MC, that's how a good drum and bass MC is.
Would be,
You don't want to go to a drum and bass, it's all about the DJ.
Yeah.
If an MC's sitting there spitting bars the entire time, like yo, here's my lyrical prowess, like just going off, like it's annoying.
Yeah.
But if they're sitting there accentuating the DJ, and just like getting the crowd hyped, and then sometimes putting in a few bars that are like at the perfect point, that's what's good, you know. Right. So you definitely had that vibe going, and then you also had I don't like hip hop now. Yeah. I'm totally out of it. I don't. There's not too many MCs that come out or rap songs I hear that I vibe with anymore, except for the new Black Thought, Danger Mouse album.
Danger.
But that's back to my favorite era of hip hop. Underground hip hop. Positive hip hop, like where the beats were fire, sampling fire stuff, Dilla beats, all that. Yeah. So what do you think? You don't know. What do you think of the Nepali hip hop scene? Is there a scene here? I know. Wait a minute. Isn't the mayor of Kathmandu a
hip
rapper?
hop artist? Yeah. I mean, he started out as a hip hop artist.
What's his name?
Balin. Yeah. And he was in the first Battle League of Nepal or something, and then
so he's a battle rapper.
Battle rapper at that. He has a couple of songs. He has a couple of cringy commercial, very cringy commercial songs as well.
So let's not talk about him.
He has some political good message songs as well. He's a good writer. For that I give him. In Nepali he's a good writer. For a few songs are good. But yes, for hip hop to have that much influence in Nepali society, it's crazy to see. But I usually don't associate myself with the hip hop community here. While growing up, usually most of the time, I am around the community, the music community. I vibe with the jazz community, punk community, metal community, and mostly electronic music as well. I'm all over the place, I think. But the one thing is, being in hip hop, I just never gelled up with the hip hop community because I don't know, there's much. I think there's a lack of substance. It's repetitive stuff happening around, and everybody's talking about the same. There's really good young MCs. Few of them. I'm not saying there's nothing. There's a lot of talent there. But 95% of the MCs are just whack, you gotta say it, you gotta say it when you gotta say it. It does what it does, man. You do it because it does what it does. So that's a Black Thought line. I did what I did because it does what it does.
No, and I think that goes back to why I say I'm not up on hip hop anymore, because for me it fell off. For me, it goes back to it's just egotistical. It's just about looking cool.
Braggadocio sort of stuff.
It's surface level. It's actually below surface level, and not in a good way.
It's somewhat breaks my heart. I correlate this with 1984, the novel, because that's that they're always writing a new dictionary, new speak and stuff. They're trying to reduce our vocabulary. Before, the rap used to be when the rock came and shit, they're talking some metaphysical intertwined dimensions and shit, and then all of a sudden now there's that bitches and hoes. I got the coke up my nose, I put more. Every other song sounds like the same shit. I think they're reducing our vocabulary, so our thoughts not going as far as we want it to be, and it's not thought-provoking, and that doesn't sell, and trying to instill people in their minds that it's not gonna sell, so why are we gonna make this shit? And they don't put much thoughts on making a song. It's not an art anymore. Rap is rhythm and poetry. There's no rhythm, there's no poetry, so it's not rap anymore,
Yeah, I hate trap beats. Everyone's rapping over trap or drills, the popular thing now, and it's anybody can download. That's the sample pack that comes with your program you got for free. And not saying that you can't make some dope shit with some free programs. We were talking about Danger Mouse. He still uses Fruity Loops.
Exactly.
He does some dope shit with Fruity Loops. He does some dope
shit with some free provided
But most of these people are taking sample packs and just rearranging them and not even doing that hardly. It's just loops. It's so annoying. And then talk about the lowest vibrational content you can think of, and like you said, it's kind of brainwashing.
That's hip hop at the moment. I know what you're saying.
And that goes right with TikTok too. If it doesn't hit in the first 10 seconds, people turn it off. I don't think I got a song that starts 10 seconds. I got weird intros everywhere.
Exactly. I know your style. You're some weird shit. You're into some weird shit. But that's what I like. I think that's what art. People are I think, used to making contents nowadays rather than
for sure.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between content and art? Is there any kind of medium, or I don't know?
I think content is just to grab your attention in the first 10 seconds. That's the intention behind making content. I think like you just, okay, what's gonna grab content? Okay, let me wear a bra, and then I think that's the thing that's gonna catch his eye, and maybe art is like just what we described, the abstraction and stuff. You try experiment in daily basis, dedicate your life on like trying to figure out to do something new presented in a like completely new perspective. Because as Nas said it, like there's nothing new under the sun, and like like with this the materials will be reused. Like one thing about music, when you hit it, feel no pain. That line has been used for like thousands of songs, but every time someone like taps into that philosophy, resonates with it, present it in a way that no one does it except for you.
Yeah. Speaking of Dead Prez, they're the only ones that made a rap song about eating healthy. That's the only rap. I played that for my wife, who's a vegan chef, and she loves it. It's on her Instagram constantly now.
Yeah.
She don't know who Dead Prez is, but that album, that was when I was in high school. That's how old I am. So that album, Get Free, came out in high school. Yeah. That is a banging fucking album. Every song is just like, and as a white dude, they're talking shit about white people the whole time, but I feel them.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
Nothing they say is wrong. And the same white people they got a problem with are the same white people I got a problem with. I don't have a problem with anybody in general, but the people they got a problem with, same people I got a problem with. So I vibe with them.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get their community healthy, get their community thinking, get their community reading. So anything that's positive, I'm all about.
I'm down for it. Yeah. I think there is actually, Charles, you sort of told me like you sort of like hip hop disappointed you at this time. It's really hard. I feel your perspective, but I think there are a couple of dope conscious MCs like putting like huge amount of knowledge like in their songs
right
now.
Give it to me. Who's hot right now?
I think the conscious K. Reno, the Atlanta, not Atlanta, he's a legend from South Side, South Park Coalition. He has a group, SPC, South Park Coalition. K. Reno, he's about 50 years old. He's an OG, and like his discography is about like 100 albums. One time he has the Guinness World Record of releasing like the most album in one day, 7 albums. All fire.
I think when you were over at my house, you played one of his tracks.
One of his songs.
And he's just like going off. It's almost like reading a book or something. Because he's just spitting knowledge. It all sounds good. But you're like, man, I got to look all this stuff up. I got to go back to my DuckDuckGo and check out some of this stuff.
His style, I think like not much people know about it. Like no hip hop head, I think I've met know about it. Like his style is mostly like reading a book. He tells a like surreal story, a fiction about something, and that he kills that character, and okay, he has a victory, and next album the villain comes in again in a song, like he has some creative way of making a song, and he's super conscious about like eating healthy and stuff. He spits knowledge about like all this stuff that's darker shit of Hollywood and stuff is happening. He's exposing all this stuff. So it's interesting. Kirino, maybe UK hip-hop like Akala, Logic, and like Loki, these guys are so conscious with their knowledge, very sharp, and like it's nice to see, like someone like Loki, he wanted to be independent all his life, no record label or nothing, and he managed to sell like 1 million copies of his first album just by hands. Just by respect, people bought 1 million copies of his album without record label. I think that's the first time that even us as independent artists, we had this guts to, okay, we can do this shit. Like, if we,
I don't know why anybody would be on a record label these days. Like, it seems kind of pointless.
Pointless
like, okay, I'm gonna give up 50% of my money. And they're not even gonna sign you unless you're already popular.
Yeah. But this was like about 10, 15 years ago, so like,
that was kind of the first wave of it.
Yes.
Gave everybody else hope.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you want to get weird with it? I mean, we're about half an hour in. I think the bots quit listening.
I constantly have these thoughts, like, a couple of my shirt, I paint on my shirt, and I like write this radical messages. I wrote like something like death to algorithm produce individuality, because all of y'all individuals think that you're original, but like you're not really original, you know. You're just, your thoughts has been like came from an algorithm. Your algorithm has been implanting the thoughts for you, and you think you have individuality, you have an originality, but yeah, it was like sort of a message. Yeah,
I totally agree with that, and I talked about this on my last podcast.
Yeah.
Since social media has come out, everybody is homogenized.
Yeah.
They think they're different because you might be in your little clique or whatever, but everybody's getting the same content. I mean,
yeah.
It's weird because it's an individualized. They're getting your feed exactly for you.
Yeah.
But you're just like, you know, out of these 10 demographics, you know, it's like you're a goth kid or you're a punk kid or you're left wing, you're right wing, and they give you this thing, and everybody's getting that same feed just to piss you off, and everybody's making the same content. Yeah. And I call it like TikTok brain. Like,
okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and you see these kids like, I don't know. We'll talk about that again, like TikTok brain, yeah, straight up.
Straight up.
I went to a temple, I'm staying in my Mepi temple right now.
Yeah.
Beautiful temple.
Yes.
The music in the morning's annoying. The woman does the singing in the morning, is not on key. She's not on key, she's horrible. But you go up there and there's all these kids and it's just sitting there bringing in the energy and enjoying it. Yeah. They're doing TikTok dances.
Okay.
Like, why are you going to go to a temple a spiritual place, and TikTok dance? And it's not just little kids. I see like grown-ass women doing it.
Definitely. It's all over. Its minds has been infested, like all ages right now, yeah.
So, I mean, do you know how, like, do you know the whole TikTok story with the company and everything?
No, like, enlighten me.
Well, it's a company that... they're owned by the CCP, just like every company there is. And it's like Dojing, I think is the name of it, in China. Yeah. So I have some friends that live in China. Actually, most of them got kicked out. Yeah. But if you go onto the TikTok app in China, it's all promoting pro-China stuff, science, being good to your parents, you know, being a good person, bettering yourself, all that. You go look at it in America, or you look at it here in Nepal, it's a bunch of hood rat shit. Yeah. Just like sexuality, just low vibration, making you dumb.
Dumb, exactly.
And that's why I call it TikTok brain, because it's just like making you, it's all the social justice stuff that doesn't really make any sense, or that obviously has an agenda to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know why any country, I mean, I know governments suck at everything. Yeah. But like, why wouldn't you ban that app? Because it's literally making the children just dumb.
Dumb, yeah. But I think it's all like Western capitalistic mindset that we all inherited, like this globalization of a glamorous American dream sort of stuff. So everything that you do, every intention, it's nothing pure, it's just like how to make money, profit and loss. So like that's what wins in this realm that we're living at this moment, I think. And that's, I think, the same mindset. Like they're trying to deteriorate this creative forces from people, our youth, and just feed them like all this information. Okay, life, an ideal life should be like this. You see this TikTok model with their like face titties and like butts and shit, and like all of them like crave this shit. It's just like horrendous to look at these people, and like how like humanity has shaped into something that's so plasticky. I don't know, like
I think deteriorate is the perfect word for it. It's deteriorating society. And it's deteriorating individuals, deteriorating art. Yeah. You know? And I think it's on purpose, like you said. I think it does have a Western thing, but I think it's also the CCP capitalizing on that and using it, like blasting it to the fullest. Because they're definitely making lots of money off of it. And if you look at society, I mean, it's like a new form of colonialism. It's like a brain tumor. It's like a brain disease.
Mental colonialism, 100%. It's mental
generation warfare.
Yes. This is the World War IV we're talking about, the war against your consciousness, you know, like they're planning to like make you a factory worker. That's what they want. They're planning to make you a robot with no free thought, and there's certain things that you can think of, and there's certain ideas you can't go near to, you know, like this. There's no freedom of mind and like freedom of thought in this like era, I think, and that's what goes around. Like school system makes you hate books after you're done with school. Like, you know, like music, mainstream music kills the actual art of making music, and like Michael Jackson has and Prince has in card holding, Sony kills the music, and you know, like all this corporation wants us to wear tie and stuff. And I think the whole narration of rags to riches and like this story that everybody wants to tell. I have nothing, and then I have $1 million now, right now, in a car. You know, this rags to riches sort of narration, and a sort of like a Slumdog Millionaire sort of narration. Everybody is clinging into that like narration and the American dream sort of narration, but there are other stories. Be original. I think that's my message. There's other stories, there's other things that you can do, and you don't have to wear a tie and be slave to a corporation. And what's in tie? Like, I mean, you are tied to this system. It doesn't make you feel good, you know, like you just choke the hell out of it. I was thinking, like last time I was with my like school reunion, and all of my friends, like, you know, they're like suited up in ties and stuff. I'm the only one who's an artist, being funky as hell, having tattoos and shit. I was just being there like that, and like I was just thinking to myself that all of these guys wear tie, but what's the entire purpose of tie, wearing a tie? It's called a fucking tie. Like you've been conditioned to, like, you know, like wear your handcuffs by yourselves in sort of a way, and like it's a tie. You're actually tied to something. So like the words and this actual meanings is like truth in plain sight, you know. And while growing up, we like sort of like learn to look the other way and like not look at the truth because it's uncomfortable.
I agree with you fully. And when you talk about value, like everyone's trying to gain more social value, more currency value, like more money, like bigger houses, nicer cars, and they're losing the true value in life, you know, like actual
deeper meaning,
love, you know, spirituality, like community, all that stuff. And it's I've worked a corporate job. You're absolutely right. They want to get you tied in there. They want you stuck. Like I got a corporate job after I quit doing music. I got like, so it was like a slow, slippery slope of doing video work, commercials and stuff like that, and video production. And they get you a point where, oh, cool, I got health insurance. I've never had health insurance. If I quit this job, you're not gonna have health insurance anymore. And you work all day and you don't have any kind of, you can't express yourself after you work a 8-hour day, which I worked way more than 8-hour day because I'm just trying to get ahead. You have no energy for actual art, let alone like your mind doesn't even work that way.
100%.
Even if you're doing like, I was doing a creative work, big air quotes on creative work, and it was not creative at all. It just like drains all your creative work. And then so you gotta buy more stuff to like, oh well, upgrade now I gotta get a nicer apartment because I'm making this money. And I feel like, and I see this all the time too, and it happened to me. You make more money, you're still broke, you just adjust your lifestyle. You just level up your lifestyle, you're still broke. And some people get in so heavy that you're in debt, like crazy debt. I know the U.S. pushes heavy debt. And back to like the value thing, what I see here in Nepal is like all these people have this dope land out in these villages. Like you go outside of Kathmandu, and it's gorgeous. I mean, it's paradise. I don't spend any time in Kathmandu because I don't really like it. If I wanted to see, I lived in America. I lived in Atlanta forever. I'm over big cities. But like, you know, people have these dope lands in these villages and they don't see the value in it. They have like all this land and they want to come to Kathmandu to work crappy jobs to make a few bucks, or even worse, they want to go to Qatar and be treated like slaves. And I've talked to some of these brothers in some of these villages when I'm going hiking and stuff, and they're like, yeah, I just got back from Qatar. They explain some of the situation. I'm like, dude, how you gonna let someone treat you like that?
Yeah.
You got all of this? Like, I understand you want money, whatever, but like, I know how much the land's worth here. You got money.
Exactly.
What do you need this like,
This
crap
is
for?
I think the victim mindset that they have created for them. Like, I remember, like, in my family there used to be there was one of our brothers, like community members, who worked as a driver for my family, and he was a millionaire, but he still worked as a driver for us. I don't know why. He has this like huge amount of lands, and then it's worth millions, you know, like, and like, and like, what the fuck? He's working as a driver, and he's going to his like, okay, like, he wants to farm. If that's passionate to farming, then that's cool. You can use the land. Then I asked him couple of times, and why are you working as a driver? Why are you working for others? And like, why you're a fucking millionaire? You're a fucking millionaire, bro. Like, you have like this huge seamless amount of land. And they say, my ancestors would be sad if I sell this land. That's what represents us. And like, that's like, I'd rather have a simple, like, you know, like, I'd rather work for someone else because I don't know how to do business and stuff. So this is the mindset that they create, the fear and the insecurities create this mindsets while they're still trapped in the system, you know, and they have to go to Qatar and might lose their life for someone else for building a stadium or a building or some shit.
And not only that, just like you lose your self-respect. Like,
yeah.
The way I've heard that they treat them,
Yeah.
man, I ain't let nobody treat me like that, bro.
Exactly.
Like, not for no dollars.
Yeah.
Like,
word,
especially
yeah.
when, like you said,
Yeah.
they got this land, and like someone like me, like I'm a broke dude from Kentucky.
Yeah.
If I had land like that,
you do crazy shit.
Yeah, I would never leave that. I'd be good.
Yeah.
That's my goal in life, is to get some land like that.
Yeah.
Build a cool crib.
Yeah.
And farm.
Chill.
Take care of my family.
Yeah. Make art and like just like, you know, take care of your family and like work from home when you want to work, when you don't want to work, you just chill, you know, like that's how life's supposed to be actually. Like, you don't have to take all of this stress until your hairs are gray and like you're 50 and like, what do I have? Like, nothing but a bunch of money. Dude, you're not fucking rich, you just got money. This is the thing that people don't understand, you know.
And to what? To buy some, like, I see the stuff people buy. Yeah. It's like crappy stuff from China, crappy stuff from India. Like, I'm sorry, the Nepali stuff is way better. You guys got everything. You're selling electricity to India, you know what I'm saying? Like, these people are like stealing all your all's resources. Y'all got everything you need.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, the people is the biggest resource.
Yes.
Like, why 100%. Are you taking your biggest resource and putting it to these people that don't care about you? Like I said, I'm convinced this TikTok thing is a psyop from China
100%.
To degrade everybody's culture and degrade just people in general, so they can take advantage of. Look what they're doing to their own people with like locking them into their houses, cages. Yeah.
So I was thinking like, there's like this entire concept of you have to be a billionaire in order to help people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't exist. Like, people think that, how would I help someone else? Because I don't have enough to eat. You have like $10,000 salary per month and you're still talking about this struggle story? Doesn't make sense. I work so hard to buy you a Louis bag. Like, come on. Like, I mean, like, you don't have to be a billionaire. You don't have to be the other side of the fence to help the other side. You know, this entire psyop thing that people have created and mindset for people. Like, I think like you have to be one with the people to help the people. You have to be with the people, one with the people to help people. As Jay-Z said, like, you have to be a billionaire to help the poor. Like, you know, it doesn't make sense. Like, you're building this $1 billion rocket to go to the moon, and then you can use the same technology to like throw food in Africa. You still see babies dying with hunger. Like, this is chaotic, you know, like the entire thing. That's where we're heading humanity. I try to talk with a lot of my friends about this actually, and then what they say is like, they find comfort in this, like, you know, purposeless life. And like, I think that's what they robbed us from, our life force, a purpose, you know.
Yes, purpose.
And yeah, the whole narration, the mainstream narration of like we exist in random things, like it's just rock and water in a ball spinning around and shit, and this entire space, and we just have to be here randomly. It sort of creates like a purposeless life, but I do think there is a purpose. There's something we need to unlock in this matrix or some shit that we can see through all of this bullshit. I think both of us, we see through bullshit, a lot of bullshit that's happening around us, you know. So like that's I think this is the state, like the capitalistic mind, just a profit loss, like a calculator sort of mind, is that just you have to be a billionaire to help the poor.
And let's keep it real, none of these billionaires are actually helping anybody.
The poor. Exactly.
They spend billions of dollars for PR to say they're helping the people so they don't get shot. Or like Bill Gates get pied, you know? Like, I mean, look at before he bought all the health organizations. All his philanthropy is to buy people. And even WHO, all that stuff, all these three-letter things, all these NGOs. That's all bullshit. It's all money laundering, PR, and 100%. More control.
100%.
And they even like in interviews, oh, we own the science. Don't get me wrong. I think science is cool as shit.
Yeah, true.
True
science.
Yeah. True science. Where you're questioning everything. That is the point of science. If a scientist is telling you not to question them, they're not scientists. And I'm sorry, I'm not a Vedic Baba or nothing, but I've read enough of the Vedas and I've read enough of it to know that they're on some other shit. Science is catching up to the Vedas.
Exactly, 100%. The occult knowledge is much more denser than science, I think.
Alchemy, the Hermetic principles, all that stuff explains stuff way before science. And science is catching up and well, science says this. Well, guess what? This was already written in books thousands of years ago.
Definitely.
So catch up with it. Even geometry, like I was watching a video on Vedic geometry, and these dudes had pi and all this stuff figured out with a string. They had a string. And they could make all these dope Vedic temples and all these dope like fire things to like do their rituals with a string. And we're talking perfect geometry that they say the Greeks figured out. But they had that thousands of years ago with a string.
Definitely. I think like there's civilizations and stuff like this. Couple of things. They like the entire purpose for like the science to be like. It's like so non-questioning nowadays. You can't question something, you know, like, and I think like that's not okay. Like this the entire the purpose of science is now that like just look around us. Like how many of our friends are inventors? None. Like that's what says what's happening in the society. How many of our friends are innovators, inventors, and like there's none because they don't teach in school to become an inventor. Like
they don't teach in school how to actually think. They don't teach critical thinking. The people who get the highest in school are people that are good at memorizing stuff and people that can sit and be quiet all day and not get in trouble.
Not question.
That's
what they teach.
They don't want people who actually think and question stuff and get into trouble. I'm sorry, you're supposed to get into trouble. How are you supposed to figure stuff out? And like science, you're not supposed to question science. I question everything I think. I don't believe the same thing I think yesterday. And there's no problem with that. That's not being a hypocrite. I don't agree with things I said last podcast probably. Because guess what? I'm still learning every day. If I'm not learning, it was a wasted day.
No purpose,
So you should question yourself. You should question other people. You should question definitely your government. Government has not looking out for you. Corporations are not looking out for you. And like you said, no one's inventing these days, and the people that do invent get railroaded.
Rigged off,
They get their stuff ripped off, they're poor. I mean, look at Nikola Tesla. That's like the most famous thing. Dude died poor in a relationship with some pigeons.
And
then they came in and stole all his papers.
All he did was try to provide free energy to entire world, and like that's something utopian, you know, like his ideas were too like conflicting the core, like, I don't know how do we call this mindset, like this entire thing they're trying to make. But I think they're doing monopoly on like everything, like monopoly of information, monopoly of like property. They've even done monopoly of food, like seeds. They patented seeds and shit. Like, I don't know what kind of world we live in. Like sometimes I have this insecurity that I need to collect more books. I need to collect more books because it might not be available in the future.
Absolutely. That's why they're pushing all this digitalization.
Like if a book is a PDF, then anybody can manipulate the book for like in another next 50 years.
It happens in real time, just like you said, 1984. What was his job? Was to go back in time and change headlines, which they do now on a daily basis.
This guy, Winston, I think if I remember it correctly, he's the current day fact checker, you know. I think like I had this insecurity that I need to collect more books. It's sort of like a fiction, Fahrenheit 451, Ray Bradbury. It's like also dystopian fiction, and like they burn books and it's illegal to like own books. Like it sort of created a fear in me that I need to keep my information pure. I need to be ready, you know, like when there's a war in information. I think that's now this war about information.
Because you can't publish a book if you have a certain view on stuff.
Exactly.
A lot of if you say the wrong thing, you're just get canceled. They'll debank you and stuff. Talking about sci-fi, are you a big Philip K. Dick fan?
Philip K. Dick, yeah.
That's like my number one homie.
Number one, right?
If I joined some crazy religion, it would have to be a religion based on Philip K. Dick.
Isn't wait a minute, is it Electric Sheep Dream? Android.
That was the big one that became Blade Runner.
I know a couple of his concepts, but I've not read the book by itself, but
dude, this guy is crazy. Like cool. The more you read up on him, he got super religious in his late days. He was a super speed freak, like bought speed, legally, and he would write books in like a night.
Shit, that's crazy.
Because he was so broke, he had to, write these books and short stories and sell them super fast. So they were like we were talking about the divine. He would just channel stuff.
Stuff through it,
And there's a crazy story which was in that movie Waking Life.
Wow.
Have you seen that movie?
One of my favorite.
So he tells that story in there where he had Flow My Tears, the Policeman. That book.
Okay.
He apparently wrote it just like that, channeling and stuff. And he came back later and he met somebody on the side of the road, and he was like, well, this is like in my book. And like meets more people and talks to him, and he's like, this is also the same story that was in my book.
Interesting.
And it freaks him out. So he talks to a priest. And the priest tells him, dude, that's the book of Acts. And that's before he was religious.
I know about it. Yes. Someone already wrote the book a couple of 100 years ago, like word by word.
In the Bible. It's a story in the Bible.
It's a channel. Yeah.
And so after that, he became some crazy Christian where he believed that there's necromancers in the time of Christ. And that this whole world is like illusion, like a whole simulation theory vibe. And that they just want you to live in this simulation to not know what's going on right now. And he thought we were in the time of Romans. But his books, a lot of his books have weird plot twists like that. And they're all he called besides that in his own personal life, the way corporations act right now, he called all this shit. How corporations and government become the same thing and just control life. And there's one where they basically just this guy loses his whole identity in one night. They debank him. He doesn't exist anymore. He's not anywhere.
That's happening soon. That's
everything in his books happens. And then he's got this one Ubik where basically they're keeping people alive that are dead, and they're keeping their brains alive.
That's consciousness transplantation. No, I think that's the next technology that's gonna come after AI, UI, uploaded intelligence. I think people's gonna upload the consciousness in a device or something.
I think the rich people are
already happening.
Poor people, no. Poor people, they're gonna tell you do that, and you're just dead.
But but it's looking at all this stuff, I think we do live in a simulation.
It's definitely
so much.
Makes a lot of sense on a lot of different
aspects.
levels.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you talk about hermetic principles, everything you believe in manifests itself. So like if you believe something different, that's the world you live in.
And beliefs are like very powerful, I guess. Like people know about it. Like your thoughts, your intentions are so powerful that like even like it's now mainstream. Like a lot of like girls want to like, be like law of attraction, like whatever. Say you speak as it is, like abracadabra. You speak as you create. All these things are real, like because words are not unintentional. Words always has a hidden meaning, and I think like even the word spell, right? Spelling and cursive writing. That's the reason it's called spelling. That's the reason it's called cursive writing, because it's allowed us to like cast a spell. That's why it's called broadcasting, the program in television. Like there's a lot of things that's happening in the words itself, but we choose not to see it because it's in front of us. Like these the words are meant to cast spells and like this entire things of like from occult or religious texts, like hermetic principles, all of these things. These guys are talking about the same thing actually. All these religions, all these motives, all these metaphors, they're talking about the same shit. There's this deeper truth of living, this spiritual truth towards like where we are, and there's a purpose for you guys to actually live your life in a way, like there's a purpose. So that's I think that's the purpose. We are being robbed of our purpose, and we're just like randomly lost in this entirety. Yeah.
I agree, and I feel like it goes back to what we were talking about with manipulation of language and everything, and just manipulations of people's thoughts.
Yeah.
They've taken these old books and old knowledge. And they've translated them. And they've manipulated language and how language works. To, like you said, put a spell on people where the concepts mean completely different than what they should.
Yeah.
So I'm just now learning Nepali. My wife's Nepali. I should have learned it a long time ago. But I'm old now, and language is hard the older you get.
Yeah.
And it's based on Sanskrit, which is one of the older Aryan languages. But like Aryan is like the original language, and everything's kind of passed down from that. Do you speak Sanskrit? Do you understand Sanskrit?
Sanskrit, couple of words are very similar. My name is Sanskrit word. Okay. Jugal means coalition, like merging of two entities, and also a pair. So it's a Sanskrit word. Jugal is not Nepali, and a lot of like Sanskrit word is derived from Nepali is derived from Sanskrit. So
very similar.
A couple of things. Yeah.
Do you feel like there's more energy? Because I know when you rap a lot of times, you do some Nepali, you do some English.
Yes.
Do you feel like when you rap in Nepali, it has a deeper meaning or a deeper influence on people?
100%. Because English, I rap about the same stuff in English and same stuff in Nepali. My content, my message is always the same. And like a lot of things we talked about today, I talk about it like in my raps and in my lyrics and stuff. But in Nepali, like it's like I don't use slangs and stuff, as you noticed in my raps. And in Nepali, I think it connects with people easily, like Nepali people. English, they get lost if I start using heavy words and stuff. In Nepali, I use heavy words sometimes. And my Nepali raps are also like, I have a huge lexicon. And I was like, I wrote my first Nepali rap is about like 3 years ago or something, because like, like I didn't have no background in Nepali, because I went to a boarding school and like everything was English, and like, and when someone was doing good in Nepali, wanted to learn more of Nepali, we were considered the uncool kids, So
really,
really. So if you did good in Nepali, then you are the uncool person. You have to be like the good in English, then you are cool, while in primary school. So I never was good in Nepali, and then I sort of like learned Nepali like few years ago, like sort of like, okay, I'm Nepali, man. That's the thing that makes me authentic. And then I started reading a lot of Nepali literature and like poetry and stuff. And it's like huge, man. These guys were talking about Freudian concepts and ADs and stuff, Nepali writers. I didn't know about it. Like, there's so many things happening, and then I slowly started gathering my emanations, my words, and stuff, and then started, like, I wrote my first rap, and then when you rap in Nepali, there's definitely a connection to your own soil, and with your people, and it feels like you're rapping for your people. It feels like you have a message, you're being the voice of your people, and that's I think it's more powerful than like rapping in English. Rapping in English, I can, but there's so many things that you can't do in Nepali that you can do in English. English has our entire like lexicon. It's lost. Like you can't. What's the word for computer is Nepali? There's no word for computer in Nepali. There's no word for like, I don't know, this like camera in Nepali, or like there's no word for like photosynthesis in Nepali. You know what I mean? Like there's no words. If you like search in Google what's like photosynthesis in Nepali, is like photosynthesis. Like they just added like a bit of Nepali accent to it, and that's it. And we speak like half English, half Nepali all the time to explain these concepts and stuff. But like I think they has like robbed us of our language as well. Like they want everybody to speak the same language all over the world, and like we have this language, it's hidden, there is, but now you can't find it in internet.
Yeah.
You can't. It's very limited. I had a huge hard time to like learn to make Nepali poetic, like it was.
Well, I mean, even the definitions of English words are changing day to day.
Day to day, yes.
Like you go look up a word and you're like, whoa, that's not the definition of it.
No, yes,
like this is completely changed.
Different, yeah.
So I agree with you. I think there probably were words for it, and like you said, Nepali is based on Sanskrit, which is based on old Aryan language.
Yes.
So there probably were words for it in the Vedic, because they're still trying to translate that stuff. It doesn't translate.
Translate, yes.
And the way translations work, I know how it is. It's like the telephone game.
Yeah.
You say this to one person, and they're going to put their own spin on it, or their own perspective on it, and it's not going to be a real translation.
Yeah.
And I see that problem with Hinduism. I see that problem with Christianity.
Yes.
I see that problem with even Muslims. The Quran. There's so many different versions of the Quran, and I think even the one that's mainly used in the Middle East is was translated by some Catholic priest.
Someone who made the Big Bang Theory, right?
Yeah. Talk about the Big Bang Theory. Like
it was invented by a Catholic priest.
Jesuit priest. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure. This could be totally wrong because I'm an idiot. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure I've read that most of the versions of the Quran that are floating around were translated by Jesuits. You know what I'm saying?
Jesuits. Yeah. There's connection there. Yeah.
And there's even a lot of people that think old Europe was Arab, you know what I'm saying? Was originally followers of the Quran.
Okay.
And that's what the whole getting wiped out by the Knights of the Templars was. There's a crazy dude. This will probably be the last one we'll talk about.
Okay.
But there's this crazy Russian mathematician.
Okay.
Flamenco.
Flamenco, okay.
Flamenco, kind of like flamenco guitar, but flamenco.
Okay.
He wrote this giant series of books about how most of Western history is completely made up.
Yeah.
Like they added 1,000 years basically to try to make it seem like the Catholic Church and the Vatican and all that is older and more prestigious than it is. Yeah. When really they just stole a lot of stories and then repeated it. Yeah. Like I said, he was a mathematician. Yeah. So he would it took him 10 big huge volumes of books to explain it all, so I'm not going to explain it very well because also I'm an idiot. But basically it mirrors out. So the same people are kind of repeated, the same kind of things are repeated.
Okay.
And so if you're saying if something happened in 1666, like the fires of London and a bunch of weird stuff happened in 1666, it was actually the year 666.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, even like this is a lot of 666 symbolism in like a lot of things in science as well. Like
And 19.
Yeah.
Like 19 gets repeated over and over again.
42 is also, I think, very prominent number. I have like this concept, like this numbers that we see and like these synchronicities that we talk about and stuff. So I think like if there's like dimensions, we live in a 3D world, but in like we already know about this thought experiment. If a like 3D object lands on a 2D surface and its existence is just like this circle, if this lands or here, it's just existence is just rectangle, they would never be able to figure out it's a phone, right? So like imagine if this going on like this, right? It's going on, this is a 2D, this is 3D, and it's going on like this, and it says, okay, maybe like...
Yeah, exactly what I was saying. Like if you're in a 4D world, you can see all the 3D stuff, but you're never going to be able to see...
It goes on like this. No, it's not landed here, but it actually went through it. It went through it, then it's going to change, right? The existence, the shape is going to change. People are going to think like, what is it that just landed? And then it's going to disappear. Imagine the same stuff that's happening in 3D world with a 4D object, like going through it, and it's gonna getting bigger, smaller, bigger, and we'll never figure out what it actually is, and then it disappears. I think that's what's awakening, the grander awakening that's happening right now. There's an awakening going on in the consciousness, and we see these numbers and stuff. I think. You know what I mean? Like this.
I know what you mean, but if you want to talk about the number thing, for me, I feel like it's the people that are creating a lot of these problems, whether they're some demons from another like dimension, fourth dimension, or something that wants humans to suffer. They're obsessed with it. So they use it over and over again. That's what I'm saying with this 19 thing. There's like, you look up a lot of these events, and this 19 number gets used in the weirdest ways, and it's like so many like in distances and how many people died, and the year things happened, the day things happened, like all the way to Napoleon, way further back than that to modern stuff. You know, if you Google it, like you Google some crazy event that happens, the number 19 is gonna be in there or something. And like I said, I'm not a numerology guy. I'm not real into it, but I think they're way into it.
They're completely, they know how to use these things, like the people who upper echelons and the people who's on.
And it's like code to other people, or like it's part of their occult religion. So like, I'm not saying that the number 19 actually means anything, but to them it does. So like when we talked about before, if you believe something, it's gonna happen, you know?
Yes.
Or it's gonna manifest itself.
Yes.
And I think that even has to do with we were talking about this off camera before, but like ether. And that ties back into the Vedic knowledge where there's, you know, earth, wind, water, fire. Ether. There's definitely a fifth element. And the only people that are trying to tell you that there's not a fifth element are the people that are trying to discover the fifth element. And we're not talking about Bruce Willis movie. You know what I'm saying? With Chris Tucker. Shout out to Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker, right?
But I mean, I think that this ether thing, it's an ancient concept that you have to be just so dumb to not think that this exists in some way.
Yeah, exactly.
And the people that are telling you it doesn't exist are the people that are trying to use it for their own good.
I agree. There's a lot of things hidden from us, like in plain sight, like completely.
Man, this is literally like the fourth time we've chatted, I think. Like,
yes.
And that's what I'm saying. I feel like we're instantly best friends. That's why when you called me to do some gigs, I was totally down. That's why I started a podcast. I knew you had to be at least number 3 as soon as I come to Kathmandu. Let's wrap this up.
Let's go.
But we're going to do some more. If it's not here, it's going to be online. Because I love chatting with you.
Definitely.
Let's tell the viewers where they can buy your art, where they can check your music, and just how they can get in touch with you in general.
Yes, so you can always come and visit me in Kathmandu Art House, Kathmandu Guest House, in center of Thamel. Chat with me anytime, see my artworks, talk to me about concepts and things we talked about. And also, we will have few gigs while Charles is here. Maybe in Jan, like we'll have few stuff, so we'll let you guys know about it. And also, my music. I have a sort of like a free jazz band, you know about it. Revenge of the Invisibles, Roti. You can find it in YouTube.
Shout outs to Deepak.
Deepak,
bass player, that's my boy.
And And I have a hip hop project called Euphemistics with the Y. And
very fire. Check it out on YouTube.
Euphemistics with the Y. It's on YouTube as well. So I think that's about a project that I have. I'm currently working on my paintings and like reading shit.
It's your boy Ruckus.
It's a boy Ruckus on Instagram. You know the drill. Just you know where to find me now. So yes.
So definitely check my boy out. If you are a baller, come buy some art, and I'll be jealous. Because it's super dope. Yeah. Charles of Moreland III, check me out on Instagram. Yes. Check out the podcast Enlightenment Operatives. Like, follow, subscribe. If you're a bot, hook me up with a bunch of stuff too. I know there's some bots watching. Yeah. But thanks again. Check you next time.
Yeah. Check out. Peace, boys. Here we are.